In today's session, we will see the basics of Cisco Packet Tracer Part 5. In Part 5, we will be focusing on repeater. We will start the session with the outcomes. In today's session, we are going to understand the basics of repeater and we will also know the working of repeater using Cisco Packet Tracer. Before knowing about the repeater, let's take an analogy. Suppose if I am delivering a lecture in a classroom, whatever I speak to the students who are in the first row can hear my voice better than the students who are in the last row. The reason is, when I speak, the speech is an analog signal. The signal what gets generated from my mouth when I speak tend to lose its strength when it travel a long distance, and that's why the students at the last row gets weaker signal when I speak. It doesn't mean that I'm generating less signal for the last row students and high signal for the first row students. I generate the same signal, but students who are in the first row can hear better than the students who are at the last row. Likewise, in a computer network also, the data signal generally becomes too weak or corrupted if they tend to travel a long distance. And we need some device to regenerate the signals, and the repeater regenerates the signal over the same network. The very important point to note here is the repeater regenerates the signal over the same network. It means computers belonging to the same network, they can seek the help of a repeater to regenerate. We will understand the point when we see an example. In which layer repeater works? Repeater is a layer 1 device. So repeater operates at the physical layer and its job is very simple. Whatever it gets, it has to regenerate and send, that's it. Do repeaters amplify the signal? No, repeaters do not amplify the signals. It means it won't increase the volume of the signal. Rather, it focuses on regenerating the signal. And finally, how many ports this repeater will have? It's very simple. Repeaters generally will have only 2 ports. And that's why we call it as a 2-port device. For better understanding, we will see an example. Let's suppose this is a repeater. There are 2 ports. And that is why we call repeater as a 2-port device. And we have a local area network. But if you see here, both are same network only. But there are some computers here and there are some computers here. In both the places, we have same kind of IP addressing scheme. Let's suppose there are 10 computers here and there are 10 computers here. So total 20 computers will be following the same IP addressing scheme. It means all these 20 computers are given with the IP addresses pertaining to the same IP scheme, but uniquely. For example, 10.10.10.1 can be the IP address for the first computer, 10.10.10.2 for the second computer, likewise 10.10.10.20 for the last computer, that is the 20th computer. And why do we need repeaters here? For example, let's say there is an organization, but this organization has 2 different buildings and these 2 buildings are at some distance. And this organization doesn't want to establish 2 different networks for these 2 different buildings. It means they don't want 2 different local area networks. If they want 2 different local area networks, they need a router in order to connect these 2 networks. But the organization wants same network only. In that case, if building number 1 has 10 computers and building number 2 has 10 computers, so if we want the 10 computers which is in building number 1 wants to communicate with 10 computers which is at building number 2, they are in the same network. Since these 2 buildings are at some distance, so whenever one computer generates the data, it may tend to lose its signal strength. We need repeater kind of devices to regenerate the signal. In this case, the repeater solves the problem of regenerating. For example, this is building number 1 which has a computer, and if this computer wants to send some signal to building number 2 which is at distance, the repeater gets the signal, regenerates the signal and send it to building number 2. This is how local area network can be established by just regenerating the signal using repeaters. It is always good to see things practically. We will see practically the working of repeater using Cisco Packet Tracer. The working of repeater in Cisco Packet Tracer is very simple. I have already created the scenario. And the scenario is, I have only one local area network here. Though I have 2 switches, all the computers are belonging to the same network. So it means I have created only one local area network. This computer is having the IP address 10.10.10.1 and this is having 10.10.10.2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. All these 6 computers are belonging to same local area network. Suppose if we say these 3 computers are in one building and these 3 computers are in another building. Now we want to establish communication among the devices belonging to this building as well as this building, and these 2 buildings are at some distance. So we want repeater in order to regenerate the signal and send the data. So we will go to the hub section. In hub section, the second device, that is, this is the repeater. Click on the repeater and bring this repeater to our workspace. Now we need cable to connect this device. They are different devices. So we need a cable which connects different devices. So Ethernet straight through cable we need. We will bring that Ethernet straight through cable and we'll connect it to port 1. Repeater has only 2 ports. The ports are port 0 and port 1. I'll connect port 0 this side. I'll take another cable, connect this to this side. This is in port 1. We will see the physical view of the repeater now. Just click on the repeater. Go to the physical view. There are only 2 ports. And that's why we call repeaters as 2-port device. Now we will try to send a packet in simulation. Let me take a packet. Let me place it on the first computer. It means this is the source computer which is in building 1. And this is the destination computer which is in building 2. Just now let me click capture bar forward. The packet is reached by the switch. And switch is sending the data to the repeater. Now repeater, it just regenerates the signal and sends the data. And the acknowledgement will also be sent to the sender by just regenerating the signal. And just observe here, we will see the repeater has sent the data by just regenerating. We can't see the difference because this is just signal regeneration. So anyway, repeater's role is just regenerating the signal. And that's it, guys. I hope you understood the basics of repeater. And we also know the working of repeater using Cisco Packet Tracer practically. I hope the session is informative and thank you guys for watching.